What's up, you guys? Your boy Car Guy back at it again with another video. This is video number four of the Turo Chronicle series. This is the next video to the last video that was a drop off of the Jeep Grand Cherokee. I actually just picked it up. And so I'm going to walk you through my entire process of what I go through and what I do to maintain the vehicle. And then, yeah, we'll get right into it. But first, if you're new to this channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would greatly help me out. I would appreciate it so much if you guys do that. If you're new to this is what I do. I own a Turo business where I rent out vehicles. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I felt there was a need for people that are starting out in this business to see from start to finish what a standard Turo business owner goes through on a daily basis, because I felt like a lot of times people only show a finished product. So I'm going to show the entire process of what I go through. So yeah, stay tuned.
Arriba. I want the bad forever, ever, 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 ever. I want the bad forever. I want the bad forever. I want the bad forever, ever, ever, ever.
All right, so I'm standing outside in my parking lot of where I park all of my cars. You can see there's the Infinity, and I have my two main things that I use here to clean up the car before I sit in it or anything like that. As soon as I take delivery of it, actually at the airport, this is what I did, but I'm doing it again because for video purposes. And I showed you guys in the last video that I didn't film at the airport because it's way too busy to be doing this while you know, the cars are passing by and everything like that. So these are the two things that I use. I use this Lysol disinfectant spray. I showed you guys another one, the Eon, that I use as well. That is also a disinfectant spray, but this is, I actually ran out of the Eon, so I wouldn't pick this up. Lysol works just the same, so that's what I use, and it makes the car smell good, so yeah, it works out. I also use these disinfectant wipes that I showed you guys in the last video to clean everything out, wipe everything down. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I kind of took pictures of everything already at the airport, and I'll show you guys the pictures that I took. But this renter was actually really good. Like, they returned the car vacuumed out, cleaned, and everything. So really, I don't have to do much at all. Other than, I mean, you can see kind of some water spots there. That's probably from when I washed it. But at least they vacuumed out the interior, so that's a positive for me. As you can see, they vacuumed out the entire back seats as well, or the trunk as well. Really nice. There's no new damage, so I didn't have to claim or report anything. I will do a video because inevitably it will happen when someone does damage my car or smokes in it or something like that. I know it's going to happen eventually, so yeah, I know it's going to happen. But for right now, I don't have anything to really claim, but I will walk you guys through my checklist. So I'm going to spray this car down, wipe it down, everything, and then well, I already did that, but I'm going to do it again just in case. And then we'll be good to go. It's a nugget that I thought you guys might want to know. When you're spraying down things with the Lysol disinfectant spray, make sure you're hitting all of the hot spots, everywhere that someone can touch, including these vents here, in case they touch the glove box, all of these controls here, the center console. I also sprayed the seats because, like I said in the previous video, people release oils, so I spray every single thing, literally everything. The seat belts, people touch those. Oh, and a lot of things that people don't think about when you're spraying down your car is they only spray down the inside. Well, people touch the outside too. So these doors, all this right here, the door handles, all of that, people touch that. So I spray all that down. I will wash this off later because that's just what I have to do anyway. Every single time I rent out the car, I wash it off. But yeah, so spray down every single thing, every surface, because you never know what somebody might have touched. All right, what's up, y'all? All right, so I'm back home. I went through my full assessment and everything of the car, and so I'm going to go through with you guys. I showed you guys how to clean it, what I do to clean it, and all of the specific things that I spray down and wipe down. with my disinfectants. And now I'm going to go through a really in-depth checklist of what I go through on pickup. Drop off is kind of simple because I kind of do this after every single trip, so dropping off is like really easy. I may check a couple things and I'll spray everything down again and I'll wipe it down again. But as far as like going this in depth, I don't go this in depth when I drop it off. When I pick it up, I definitely do this. So first things first, the standard thing you check for is new damage. New damage can be, I check for windshield. If there's any cracks in the windshield, I check for that. I check any cracks in like the windows, any side mirrors, like the rearview mirrors on the side. I check for any scratches or anything like that, because a lot of times people will, with certain sizes of vehicles, sometimes they won't realize how wide they are, so they'll like run into something and try to wipe it off really quick or something like that, but sometimes they leave scratches, so I check for that. I check the lights, front and the rear. All of my lights are freshly new and restored, so it shouldn't have anything in them as far as dirt wise. If there's like flies and stuff like that, I don't really worry too much about that. But cracks and things like that, like rock chips and stuff like that, I do check for as new damage. The wheels, so all of my wheels on the Jeep. The Jeep has custom wheels, aftermarket wheels for it that I really love. So I check for scratches around the rims, and if somebody curved them or something like that, I do check for that. I see tires. I check my tires if there's any like nails or punctures or anything like that. I don't check them for I check them for wear too, but that's later on in a checklist. I'll go through that. But yeah, I check them if they have like any nails or something like that they may have ran over that they didn't really know, or any type of pitting or stuff like that. That's an indication of like burnouts, or like sliding and skidding on the tires. If they have like rub marks, I'll check for that. I also check in the wheel well. If you see little specks of rubber, it tends to stick to the interior of the wheel well if somebody's doing burnout. So like older like Hellcats or stuff like that, a lot of people like to do burnouts and stuff, especially in Atlanta, because that's what people do. And the rubber will stick to the interior of the wheel well. So check for those, because I don't know how well Turo will reimburse for that, but I check for it just for my SA. That's what I do. And then, so that's as far as new damage. I'll check the interior as well, but that's coming on later. The next thing I check after the exterior, I'll check the mileage. I'll make sure the mileage is within that range of, Turo allows 200 miles a day. I don't do unlimited miles on any of my cars anymore. I used to, but one of the economy cars that I had is gone now, so that one I don't have listed anymore. But for all of the cars that I have now, I have for 200 miles a day. That's the minimum you can do. So I make sure that the mileage is within that range. And Turo kind of self-calculates that, because you list the mileage when you when they pick it up. You document the mileage and the fuel level, and then you'll go back and at the end you do the same thing, so that you know what mileage that how many miles they went for their trip. And there are certain ways to check if somebody tried to roll back the mileage, because a lot of people know how to do it, and it's highly illegal, but people do it. So there's certain ways to check, and I'll go over that probably in a later video, because I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know all the ways, but I'll try to go over that a little bit later. The next thing I go over in the interior, of course, I check the fuel level to make sure that it's topped up, and I'll check to make sure that the proper fuel was used. So the Jeep doesn't require any type of special fuel. It is a flex fuel, so it can take multiple types, but the Infinity recommends premium, so I will require that my guests put premium in it if there's not premium put in it. It's not the biggest deal, simply because most newer cars can actually take it, but I do require it for that car, because I want to make sure that it runs as long as it possibly can, as best it can. and that affects resale value. So that's something that I do for that car. But I try to, when I'm looking for cars, I try to stay away from cars that require like special fuels or anything like that, because guests don't pay attention to that. Even if you have it in the guidelines, guests don't really pay attention to it. Now, yes, you can charge for it, and I do if somebody doesn't provide a receipt for the proper fuel to fill it up. I can't guarantee that you filled it up with the proper fuel, so I will charge to say, hey, you didn't fill it up with the proper fuel, it's a X amount of dollars fee. So that's just what I do. I check the floor mats, the front and rear. Floor mats tend to keep little stuff in them, little specks of dirt or whatever inside them, especially if somebody was smoking, and it keeps some of the ash in there, so it's always an indication there. And what I intend to do in the future is put WeatherTech mats in all of my cars, so that it's super simple, super easy to clean, and even if somebody does drop something in the floor, it's not gonna stick, you know what I'm saying? And it affects resale value. So that's just what I'm gonna do in the future. I just haven't done it yet. I check under the floor mats. So what people will do sometimes if they're smoking and they're trying to hide it, they'll take the floor mats out, and that way if they drop anything or anything like that, it's underneath the floor mat. They might get it up, but they might not. And they will just hide it underneath the floor mat, so you will never be able to tell unless you take the floor mats out. So I do that front and rear. I'll check the headliner. If there's scuff marks, there's no telling what guests were doing in there, in the headliner. And sometimes the headliner will actually keep that smell of smoke inside of it. It's very, very, very difficult to get it out of the headliner because it has a foam inside of it, so it holds that smell for a very long time. So I check the headliner. I check the seats, of course, any new stains, any new rips or anything like that. I document those, and I will charge a fee for that. And then last thing, in the interior, I check the trunk. So on the trunk, most people with pets, like my cars are pet friendly, but like I said, I do provide a mat. If they don't use the mat and there's pet hair in the trunk, that's normally where people keep their pets at. Then I document that, and I will charge a fee for that because you didn't clean up after your pet. This is what I do. Next thing I do, I check for functionality. So I make sure all the doors are opening and closing properly. There's no new creaks or any bumps or anything like that in any of the doors. I'll check for the lights, make sure all the lights are working properly. That's just for me, not necessarily, I don't think a renter really caused that, but just for me, I'll check the lights to make sure that they're working properly, bright lights, regular lights, and fog lights. I'll check the hazards. This is again for me to make sure that all of my lights are working properly and I'm within legal standards. I'll check the HVAC system, so making sure that the cold air and the hot air still works properly. Make sure I don't have to fill it up with any more coolant, or not coolant, but the cold air stuff in the compressor. Making sure that that's working properly. And again, that's another place where certain smells tend to get inside the vents, and when you turn it on, you can smell it. It'll come back out. So that's just another hint, little tidbit there. I'll check the heated seats. Or heated and cooled seats if I have both. The reason I do that is because, again, smells. If smells are stuck, if someone was smoking or something like that and tried to cover it up with like a little hang tag or something like that, I will know that they tried to smoke in there, because the seats, it'll soak into the seats. When you turn on the heated seats, the vent, it'll come back out, the smell will come back out of the seats, so I can always tell if somebody was smoking in there. No matter how much you try to clean it, it's stuck in there. And then I'll check the automatic trunk lift. Both of my SUVs have automatic trunk lifts. I'll make sure that they work properly. What else? Mechanical. So mechanically, this is after the person is checked out and everything is done. I will go ahead and take it back to my dad's shop, go through a full inspection. We'll check oil pressure, oil life, oil level. We'll make sure that all of the oil is still looking pretty clean. And I do an oil change on all of my cars every 3 months. It's just for me, just to keep it safe, make sure it's running properly, always keeping new fluids in it. Same thing with the coolant. I'll check the coolant level. I'll check the coolant life. Make sure there's nothing in it in the coolant, because if there's water, or not water, but if there's oil or stuff that doesn't look right inside the coolant, that's an issue that I need to take care of and resolve. If there's a leak in the radiator and there's not a lot of coolant left in the coolant reservoir, that's a problem that we need to resolve. Those are things that I check for mechanically. I also check for windshield wiper fluid. Not a big deal, something to easily fill up, but it is a big deal if I fill it up the day before and then somebody has it for 2 days and I come back and there's no windshield wiper fluid in there at all. That's a problem, because that's an indication of a leak somewhere. I check the windshield wipers. I make sure the windshield wipers are actually working properly, and I make sure that they are not trash, because it rains a lot here in Georgia, and the last thing I want is somebody to have bad windshield wipers where they can't see and then get into an accident. So I make sure that those are taken care of properly as well. And then the last thing I check is battery life. Well, not the last thing, but the second last thing I'll check is the battery life. So I have a little meter that I'll plug up, or I have a mechanic plug up, and they'll check the battery life, make sure that the battery is running fine, and make sure the alternator is good, that's still charging the battery. We'll check all of those things. And the last thing that I check is the tire pressure. So tire pressure is super duper simple to check. I have a pressure gauge. I put it on there, make sure it's filled up to the recommended PSI. If it's not, I'll fill it up. But I also try to check to make sure that there's no cracks in the tires, any punctures in the tire, anything like that. I'll make sure that those are taken care of. If we need to replace the tire, then we need to replace the tire. It is what it is. So those are all the things that I check on a standard pickup. That's my standard checklist that I go through every time I pick up a car. It's kind of tedious, but it keeps me safe, keeps the renter safe, and it makes sure that the resale value is up to par. So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't mind, please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment whatever you like. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. My Instagram is, I'll put it right here, CAR9UY, Car Guy. Feel free to DM me. I'm very friendly. I am in several Facebook groups, Turo Host and Turo Host Atlanta. So yeah, feel free to DM me or message me on Facebook. I'm easy to talk to and very friendly. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.